Howdy, howdy everybody, and welcome back to Casual Competition. We are in for tournament number 21, and joining me today is the one, the only, the most improbable of improbable blobs. How ya doing today?
Okay. You know, nothing much has happened. I got up and I'm here.
It sounds like an
It's still
exciting
fairly early in
journey.
the morning.
Well, hopefully we shall have exciting journeys across the board here, because we've got an impressive 21 players playing here today, and which means we are into 3 different lobbies. Now, for any of you guys who are joining us for the first time today, the way the casual competition is casual is that the pricing is mostly not dependent on performance. Let's take a quick look at what we've got. So today, if you come in first, you'll get a little legendary egg, and one other player who's playing, irrespective of performance, will get a little legendary egg as well. There'll be an RP prize, which will be amongst the participating players. One for some of the streamers who are streaming here today, which fortunately I think we're pretty well set up for. And also at the end, if you're a tournament participant and you fill in our survey, you'll also be eligible for a 3rd RP prize, all provided by Rix.gg. I would very much recommend checking them out. They're a fantastic organization who help support women and non-binary talents in esports. Right. So I think we're a little way off our first lobby from starting, Blob. But in the world of TFT, it's been a little while since we spoke on this subject. You know, for you, what are the big headlines? What's super busted? What's...
Not sure, because the patch was like 3 days ago. Well, it's actually on the Thursday, so there's even less time than usual to actually get used to everything. If I had to pick a comp, it would be Yasuo. I don't know if anyone will play it, but I think Yasuo is really good because they lowered his animation. Like, you know, his cast that takes ages and then takes him ages to start attacking again. They shortened that by a reasonable amount. So I'm hoping to see some people try and play a nice Yasuo 3 game.
So I was told, and obviously I was told wrong, that we were not in the land of the 3-cost carries anymore. What happened there, Blob? What was I lied to?
Well, there was a patch 3 days ago. So, no, you weren't, but things change, you know. TFT is a game that switches around quite a lot, isn't it?
No, for sure.
Or not wrong, and Yasuo is bad, but I think Yasuo is decent.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, the just adding in that little bit of difference, it always felt like a kind of a strange thing that you were kind of working against yourself to have your Yasuo be, you know, whenever they were casting, they weren't doing what they were primarily intended to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that now I've actually seen people go Radiant Blue buff on Yasuo. Because he has 40 mana, right? So he's just casting like every other auto. And stacks up very, very quickly. And is now vaguely viable. I don't know if it's any good, but, you know.
Well,
maybe we see that kind of nonsense.
Well, one of the other things is I believe we got our first game just about to begin. But one of the other ones would be the Draven buff. Pretty significant Draven buffs coming in to 11.18. Do you think that that's enough to push them into the spotlight?
It's enough to push him out of the where he was at the bottom. I don't think he's the best comp, but he's playable.
All right,
is where I'll put him.
Let's get into things. So it looks like I think maybe one of our streamers hasn't managed to get set up in time, so we'll just drop them out of our coverage. Hey, Omniscient Bot. Omniscient Bot is in fact one of our streamers in our chat. Hey, Omniscient, I hope you're doing well, and that you don't feel too bad if we start saying, "Oh, we don't know why you're doing that." So, Blob, what kind of early comps is it? You know, I assume we're still in the area where we're kind of been wanting Sentinels and Skirmishers and all that kind of good stuff in the early going.
Sentinels, Skirmishers, yes, still very good. I think there's a quite big tendency to go towards 4 knights if you can, because, you know, 2 1-cost knights, 2 2-cost knights. So if you go 4 knights and a carry in the backline, that's pretty good. I also know that if you can go 4 brawlers, which is harder to hit, that is insanely powerful because they're just unkillable and Nunu will eat your entire team. And obviously you can have things like Vayne starts, that's pretty powerful. Anything with a bunch of redeemed. So yeah, there's a fair few things you can have. Oh, speaking of brawlers.
Oh boy! Well, so you mentioned the Nunu coming in. A friend of mine was telling me about the there's kind of been some sort of on the wall kind of approaches to using Nunu, like using the Renewer spat with Soraka to kind of create a little composition that's incredibly hard to put down.
Yeah, the Renunu, as it's called.
Oh, I love it.
Although hilariously, it has now shifted to people thinking that Renewer Spat is actually better on Sejuani.
Oh, really?
But ignore that because the name is worse. Well, it's because she gets a bunch of resistances, right? And so is a better tank. Is I think the theory behind it. But Renunu is still pretty powerful, and that 3-star brawler with 6 Renewer or whatever is very, very hard to put down. I mean, I think it's significantly more niche than most comps, but maybe we'll get a chance to see it.
I mean, yeah, it's the whole thing, isn't it? You know, that we're in a situation where we don't, you're never guaranteed that you're going to have access to a spatcher in any given game, but I guess we'll see. I mean, for Yucca, they've gone straight for a Warmogs in the other, going up against Brabrands here, who's grabbed a Warmog of their own. Is it just Warmog there today?
Warmogs has always been pretty good. It definitely helps to counter this Nunu having the Warmogs on the Vladimir, because, yeah, Nunu eating your entire Vladimir is always bad. So yeah, pretty good itemization there. And maybe enough to win this round, although it's looking pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, we've got like Calista working her work at the back, and some interesting Hellion shenanigans going on. So no win streak early on for Yucca. They've got a chance to grab themselves an Archangels or a Shojin here if they do decide to keep on their ways of slamming in the early going. I mean, what would be your instinct here, Blob?
I mean, it's a bit tricky because both of them are really good. Because obviously Shojin's really nice. And if you want to go any kind of AP comp, then you need some rods. Yeah, so choose to go for the rod. I doubt we'll see an Archangel. So I think if you're going to just slam an item, then yes, to go for the sword. But if Jerka is trying to angle towards this Renunu comp, then this is probably the way to do it, right? You want to save this tier and hope you can find a spat later on.
So Yucca came in, let's see, 4th or 6th in our previous competition, so they were in a pretty good standing to do well again today. Let's check in with Omniscient Bob, who is also a frequent flyer. What are they up to? You mentioned the Knights from before, with, of course, the damage blocking on everything. How lobby dependent is it that, the different kinds of defenses of traits are going to be valuable?
Well, I mean, early game Knights is always good because, like, at least 50% of the damage is from just people trying to hit you with auto attacks. So, yeah, early game Knights always good. Later on, obviously, if people are playing Lucian, typically Knights are very, very powerful. So yeah, I mean, it obviously does depend, but honestly, 4 Knights are usually really, really good regardless. It's only when you go against something like a Heimerdinger that it's really like, this is not doing very much.
So, interesting setup here. So we've got just kind of a collection of good stuff so far, though this is loss streaking for Lucas. It looks like Lucas is trying not to lose too much health while doing so, though. Yeah, their board isn't that much weaker than anybody else's. And in fact, I think they're keeping their Sunfire off of the board for that specific reason.
Yeah, that's a pretty canny decision there. Trying to make sure, like, I assume that they were going to see how strong their opponent was before slamming. And they see, oh yeah, this person's honestly kind of weak. My Kha'Zix does one-shot the unit in the back there. And so Sunfire, especially against these broader front lines, might have been enough. Although, it still does lose by 3 units, so, maybe Sunfire would have made them lose by 1. Maybe it would have made them win. Oh, also there's a spat. For okay. I don't know if they're going to get it, but, it's there. The interesting thing about spat is is that it's generally considered to be a really bad item.
Yes.
Right, yeah, because generically, there is one good spatula item, and it's Cavalier Spat. Like, everything else is like, oh, you have to be playing Assassins, otherwise Assassin Spat is kind of terrible. You have to be playing Renewers, or Renewer Spat is kind of terrible. Obviously, Fawn exists. But yeah, like it's not unusual to see spatulas just not get picked up because no one wants a spatula. Obviously, that didn't happen this time, but you know, not a surprise if it does happen.
Well, kind of an interesting thing here, like exactly as you said, but I'm Lucas. They don't have any kind of renewer shenanigans going on in the early part of this. So, do you think that's what they're going to be holding out for, or would it make more sense to go a different direction with their spatula?
Well, I mean, they sold their Soraka, so I'd be surprised if they go for renewers shenanigans right here. I mean, obviously they're selling just for eco. It's possible that they just want to deny spatula from other people, and they're just holding on to it and hoping that they hit a font later on, which is probably wishful thinking at best, but you know, it's there.
I guess when you're lost streaking, you don't have quite as much pressure on yourself to be putting together the correct items in the short term, because certainly I would expect to be seeing them trying to lost streak up until Krugs here. But we've got other players like Sapphire who are also trying to do the same thing. So presumably if they come up face to face with each other in this next round, that's going to cost one of them a chunk of change.
Well, absolutely. It's something like 10 gold, like within the next 2 turns, let alone continuing your lost streak into stage 3. So yes, losing this next round is worth a massive amount of money. And you can see that Omniscient even sells their Senna just because, okay, if I don't have a carry, I should be fine to lose this fight. And all the board is 1-stars. Their backline, I mean, they've got a Cavalier, so it doesn't really matter what they're doing with their backline. Yeah, okay, they're against Leven. They're going to get 5-0'd, but it's fine.
Also, we've talked a little bit about the bottom end of the table, but talking about the top, Brands and Padla, both of them are undefeated, coming close to Krug. So we'll keep an eye out on both of them on the scoreboard, see if anything changes there. Because, right, Lucas taking a pretty heavy kick in there. Padla remains undefeated, but Jaren, I believe, does not. So that was Brands and Padla. Brands lost their lost their win streak. Oh my gosh, it's too early in the morning. Coming into Krugs, but Padla did not, and Jaren is starting to make their own way up with the win streak of their own.
Yeah, it's always a pain at the top. Like, I mean, going 4 wins and then a loss is fine, because like you still got your HP, whereas like that wasn't really necessary. And also, Omniscient even killed a unit. Like, I wasn't expecting them to kill any units, and they actually managed it. So their HP is honestly a lot better than it could be. I think minimum HP right now, if everything goes as poorly as it can, and I mean like people level to 5 on 2-2 and beat you 5-0 type of thing, you're at like 56 HP. So they've saved a decent amount of HP from the minimum, but they are still not the healthiest, and this can go very wrong very quickly if they don't stabilize soon.
So looking at the items they've got right now, so we've got, we've got that spatula sitting there like the toad in the middle of everything else. As again, we're going for generic item slams here, so no commit made for as of yet. It does mean we're somewhat limited in what we can do with the spatula now that they've only got the one item to work with before the next carousel comes up.
Yeah, it's a weird one, slamming Zeeks. Like, it's a good item, don't get me wrong. It's just you don't really want Zeeks. You want actual carry items. It's a supportive item, and like now you've only got a cloak and a spat. And it's like, well, what do you do with these items now? Because you're still losing. Like, you got 4-0'd there again. They are going to roll down here and try and get a stronger board, which is very wise. But still, yeah, like as you said, their carry items are kind of limited. Like, the spatula's not going to do anything. A cloak's a cloak. No one likes cloak. Yeah, and it's kind of where you're at.
All right, well, we'll see where they end up settling. It looks like it's going to be on this board ultimately. So imagine that this is still going to continue to be a lost streak for them. Oh, there we go. This is the bottom of the table clash we've been waiting for. So Sapphire has gone for that generic power, but of the Cavalier spat, but they've also got themselves a Vayne item holder. Presumably that's going to be a Draven later on for Sapphire, or something along those lines.
Yeah, those items look very Draven-like. Last Whisper and a sword. I mean, they're pretty generic AD items. So, they're not the worst. You can go Jax with that, you can go Lucian with that. But yeah, you'd expect Draven just because it's easier to pivot into with the Forgottens, if nothing else.
So, interesting stuff. So, Sapphire's the one who keeps that loss streak going, and Lucas winning out pretty considerably after spending down, so they have to fight their way back up. Paddler still remains undefeated as of the halfway point of stage number 3. We can see there's some Sentinels and Skirmishers knocking around. Let's check back in again. Let's see. We'll spend a little time with Jaren. I think they're having a little bit of trouble with their stream, maybe. But we can at least have a little idea of what they're up to.
Well, this looks fairly Yasuo focused. It's. I mean, I did talk about Yasuo earlier. I wasn't expecting to see it immediately. But this is a Hurricane, a Deathcap, and a Hodge. They're not the best items you typically do want in an RFC, so the Yasuo is a little bit safer. But like, yeah, these are Yasuo items, and they do have a Yasuo to hold them. So hopefully we do see this turn into the Yasuo 3 of our dreams.
We can also get Yurka's comp here, which seems to be Abomination something?
I think it's just Abomination at the moment. There is standard blue buff on the brand, which while it is his best item, the issue with blue buff is it doesn't really go very well on any carry not named Karma. Like, unless of course you can get to Gwen. Gwen too, with some good items in the late game, can do incredible amounts of work. But that of course involves getting a 2-star legendary, which not the easiest thing.
Well, so it's worth noting as well that we no longer have any undefeated players now. That Paddler has dropped down. So it's actually going to be Yucca who is, with these Abominations, who's on the rise in the lobby. Of course, though, we are just short of picking up those Radiant items. So for our POV players, just give me a quick whip round. From their different comps, so we've got the Yasuo comp, we've got the Abomination comp, and we've got random stuff. Look, maybe an Assassin comp. Okay, it definitely is an Assassin comp from Onysian Pop.
Right, okay.
What do they want?
Yeah, so what do they want? Okay, so the Yasuo comp already has 3 offensive items, so they want a defensive item. So Warmogs, a Stone Plate, a Ramble, Dragonclaw. Any of those defensive items would be very good. The A-Bomb comp honestly could use anything that's not an AD item. That would be fine for them. Like a Radiant Jewel Gauntlet would be fine because they've got a death cap as well, so that would work quite well. And obviously defensive items are always good. And then for the Assassin comp, the best item is actually Radiant RFC because it makes Nocturne just stay out of trouble quite efficiently.
All right, so we'll try and catch as many of these as we can. So Yurka's it looks like they're veering towards a death cap for pure damage. So, oh, maybe they're just teasing us. All right, that's what they're going to be going for. Over on the, let's see if we can catch one who's actually on their bench. All right. So for Yaren, what are they going for? The thing.
I mean, they should go for the Dragon's Will or the Mistral, I think. What did they go for? They went for the Mistral. I mean, that's fine. I think the Dragon's Will was slightly better just because it gives HP regen to your front line, and that's pretty valuable on something like a Lee Sin 3, which is, I assume, what you're going for. And what did we get in the bottom right? I can't quite tell. What did Omniscient get? Did they get the RFC? I think they did.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to have to reload multi-stream. I was just about to try full screen the whole thing, but I really realised it breaks multi-stream. Brilliant. Yeah, the rapid fire cannon. That was the one you were looking for. Wait, was that for Lucas or was that for someone else? Because there's actually 2 Nocturnes in this last fight.
Oh yeah, that was for Omniscient Bot, which is Lucas. Yeah, I was going to call out this earlier, that the issue with going for Assassins here is that Levin is already going for Assassins. And contested Assassins are not a good comp. You will probably both bot 4. I mean, I've seen contested Assassins both top 4, but typically they go 7-8. And Levin's doing a lot better on the HP front, but I think the Radiant item helps Omniscient Bot out a little bit more. So who really knows what their final position is actually going to be?
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued here because while the rapid fire cannon itself is going to be obviously fantastic, we don't have very many other items apart from, I suppose, the Zeke's really enabling this Nocturne to go crazy. We're going to rely a little bit more on levels. There is a Diana there to help push towards Diana 2, and we get it, as well as a volley bear. So a pretty nice roll down for I Am Lucas at level 7.
I don't know if it's actually that nice, because you really, really want the Fiddlesticks, I think is
true.
what they were hoping for. Because Assassin Fiddlesticks is basically the major, like, it's basically as good as Nocturne, right? And they didn't hit it. Like, of course, they high rolled the volley bear, which helps a lot. But yeah, they were. I think they were really looking for that Fiddlesticks, and also the Ivan. Like, they did hit a Revenant in the end, but still,
yeah,
it's a little bit scary.
At least that's something. But you're right.
Yeah.
You know, we did. At least we saw get Yuck in that last round looking pretty strong. They need to be, because they're down at the bottom of the score table with the Brands, who is only 1 point above them. Sapphire, who's also low there, is on a win streak, so they should be able to climb out. But we're actually seeing the table starting to compress itself quite a lot. We've got the Paddler and Yucca, who are both on 70, high 70s, but then the rest of the table only about 20 between 3rd and 8th.
Yeah, that's not that unusual for this stage. Like, I mean, I have seen people. I've actually seen lobbies where 2 people have died before Raptors. But typically, it's fairly condensed. Like, I mean, we are getting later and later into the set, so people are typically better at playing. At least you'd assume that's the case. So, yeah, like, condensed lobbies are to be expected, I feel.
Alright, so here we got Sapphire, who's on that win streak, but it looks like that win streak is coming to a close. I mean, you mentioned we've got the 2 different players playing Assassins in the lobby. It's going to feel like it's going to be quite hard for those traditional front-to-back teamfight comps to really thrive.
I mean, in a way, yes. However, having 2 Assassin players in the lobby is sometimes actually a nice thing. Because the main issue with Assassins, right, is that your positioning has to be so different from normal.
Yes.
That because it's at most a 1 in 3 to play an Assassin player, it's never worth the position for them. However, if it's a 2 in 3 to play an Assassin player, then all of a sudden it's worth to clump up your backline, or you clump up your front line around your backline, make them safe, and you can actually position properly for them. So this actually might work against the Assassins more than you'd expect.
No, I like the reasoning there. That makes a lot of sense. So let's see how Levin's able to do. So Sapphire has lost that win streak from before. As Paddler, it looks like they are relying heavily on the old Lucian, with the relatively recent changes allowing him to get the on hits in. Will still fall victim to the Nocturne, so it does feel a little bit like, right now Lucas is on a pretty good roll.
Oh yeah, this Nocturne is doing pretty well. As I said, this is the best item you can get on him. He would like some more items, like a Last Whisper, an IE, a Hurricane, a BT, whatever. Just something. That would be nice. But yeah, like, this Nocturne for now is strong enough, but I think it's going to fall off fairly soon.
You can see Lucas getting a little frustrated there as Elephron sneaks out the glove from just underneath them. We get to see a little bit of what's going on the board though. So notables, we have got Jack's player in there. I believe there's a Kale player as well, who's just hiding off the top of the screen. So we'll confirm once we can see who that is. But you mentioned before, we're looking for eventually the Fiddlesticks here. It hasn't come up so far for our friend Lucas, or Omniscient Bot as they're otherwise known.
And yeah, I know I said that Fiddle is the best holder for Assassin's Spat. In my opinion, the second best holder for Assassin's Spat is actually Gwen. And so there is potential here to slam this Assassin's Spat on the Gwen. You can move it over to Fiddlesticks later on. I don't know if they want to do that because they might want to just keep the Mystic in for later anyway. But, I mean, yeah, the option is there, essentially.
So we get to see if Yasuo or Nocturne is the best in the battle of the 3 costs. Of course, one item Nocturne is going to struggle a little bit. We've got the healing, but it's not enough. So I'm Lucas on a pretty solid run here. They're going to move into official win streak territory at the expense of Jaren, who drops just below them on the table. And mentioned before, the top of the table is dropping down a little bit as well. Paddler and Yerka now in the 50s from the 70s they were in before, so it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to get through this lobby without taking some degree of damage.
Yeah, that's not unexpected. It's a rare thing for people to even win a game without dropping below 40 for the Radiant Blessing, let alone like 100 HP win, which I don't think I've seen probably since set 3.
So
I mean, yeah.
What is it that's causing that to be the case then?
People are just better. That's all it is.
Oh, so we need to... So that's right. So we actually need to update leave-ins comps. They're not assassins. They are now, at least. They are a Kale comp, and that we can see it doesn't do terrifically well against a Nocturne, especially when that Kale, as we've seen there, does not have a Guardian Angel to keep them up.
It doesn't have a Guardian Angel, and the thing I've noticed most is that no one's positioning against assassins. And I know I said it's typically not right to position against assassins, but nobody's done it. Every single time this Nocturne has just jumped to the back and started hitting on the carry. Even when the carry's a melee unit, like the Yasuo, yeah, every time it's just gone to the back, killed the carry, and then you win. Which I guess is perfect assassin territory.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ideal situation for Lucas, certainly, and they are the player along with Brabants who are on the win streak right now, so we'll see if we can check out Brabants from somebody's point of view. But let's take a little look at the bigger picture for a second. So we've got ourselves, of course, Yaren with the Yasuo comp. We can see there that that's pretty much remained the same as it has before. Interesting, I think they must be selling and replacing their Mistral that's on the bench right now.
Yeah, there must be. It's a pretty common strategy. Zephyr Cheese is known to be obnoxious, but when you do it with Mistral, it is truly a pain, because they just, every time, just Zephyr your carry, just like, well, I guess I lose this fight. Because 10 seconds is a very, very long time. We do see the Karma in the bottom right, bottom left even, who I think, yeah, does have effectively perfect items, and I expect this Karma to really blow a lot of people up. As long as she doesn't get thresh up, that is.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how much of a difference it can make in those rounds. As looks like we made the right call there, Sapphire, going for the Draven comp, and we'll update that as well there. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out, so Karma even getting hooked in there was enough with these very strong items to get Yucca, or keep Yucca up towards the top of the table and take them off of their loss streak.
Yeah, you can see that they're still a little bit behind on what they really want to be, which is to find a Garen. If you can play a Garen in this comp, it is just so much better than non-Garen, because that MR shred is just, it's a huge boost in Karma's power, and she's already very powerful. So to go from like two-shotting a unit to just one-shotting everything, at least that's the theory.
Here we go. So Lucas Omniscient Pop, we get to see two POV players against each other. This time at least, Karma, the backline carry, doesn't get deleted immediately. But we can see one shot was enough to take the Nocturne down. The front line is not actually strong enough, which is, I kind of feel like that's kind of surprising, given that, you know, to have the Assassins winning a longer term fight.
I think the thing that helps the most here is actually the Sunfire, because it's 6 Stormbringer, right? Cutting that healing in half just really destroys the power of that front line. Although what does help is that this actually puts Durka down to the place where they get the blessing. A nice injection of gold. They actually just roll down here instead of choosing to go to level 9, feeling they're not strong enough to go 9, I guess. But they do hit 5 and 2, which is kind of the only thing outside of Garen that they can really roll for.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big decision to make for Yucca here. It looks like they are going to stick at 50, so presumably they're either taking the temperature of the lobby or hoping that they can get up to 9. As Paddler, you see, they've put a lot of defenses in place as Paddler against the Assassins. A big clump there with the Gwen shield as well to try and keep this Lucian up.
The issue with doing that is that you then become significantly weaker against Karma. Luckily, this Lucian was able to shoot her down before she got her casts off. But with slightly better Karma accuracy, this would have been a very different fight. because if you're clumped up, then Karma hits 4 or 5 units with each cast, and that's really not what you want.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Tell me if I'm thinking this wrong here, but it kind of feels like the Karma will be well served by kind of being maybe towards the middle of the formation here for Yurka, just to avoid having Lucian shoot directly at them.
Yeah, Lucian is a pain to position against, essentially. Because there are effectively only 2 backline units right now, the only thing you can do is... you can position in the center, that's fine. But if Lucian decides that center positioning is actually furthest away, the Lucian in the corner will just fire to the back, just because of how the angles work. So this was actually best Lucian positioning against Lucian in the opposite corner. However, if Lucian was in the same corner, like top right, then Karma would just die instantly. So typically, best Karma positioning, when you have at least 2 of these backline carries against Lucian, is to have them in opposite corners, so that Lucian will always fire into your front line, which is the Gragas, who should hopefully be able to eat an entire set of Lucian calls. Like here we see that as soon as this Nidalee casts, right, the furthest away unit is going to be this Karma. Although Lucian did dash into the center, so maybe this is okay.
Yeah, Elephant's going to have to rely on their tanks to survive, and I don't think it's going to work against this ramped up Karma, so...
I don't know, the damage from Radiant Dragonclaw is coming in massively here.
What? Oh, the madness! Wow. I didn't even notice it was the Radiant one, so that's a much bigger chunk of health getting thrown out, as we actually have had 2 eliminations, Levin and Jaren going out in 7th and 8th respectively. We're down to a top 6. And hey, why not just have a casual 3-star Nidalee as well?
And yeah, 3-star Nidalee, always pretty good. I have, in the past, thought that the best way to play Karma is to also have 3-star Riven and Nidalee in your comp as well. Which I don't know if it's true, but I like to think it's true. They do end up selling the Riven, just move the sword so they can get the item where they want it to. And, oh wait, I didn't realize they got a Radiant RFC, did our resident Yasuo player, or is this a different Yasuo player?
Let's see, it's Brabrands, who didn't actually have Dan as a Yasuo player before, so I think it's just a second Yasuo player who just happens to have a very fantastic item as well. That Gunblade providing a good amount of healing, so I think it's gonna be Yasuo's. Yeah, they can't take him down, they can't do enough damage to punch through that self-imposed shield.
And yeah, it's looking a bit dire. 4 losses at this stage of the game, that's not what you want. Also, those items are terrible. You really wanted more money and the potential for a Nico's help. There are a couple outs here, right?
You could always you could run double Karma. He's got the items for it now.
Yeah, theoretically, double Karma does actually work. The other thought is, what if you just go Karma 3? You've got 6 Karmas, right? You've got, you're going to have 80 gold. I think 82, maybe. You can probably go for it. I mean, I think the sensible play is just to level up and play 2 Karmas. But yeah, here we go. We're rolling for Karma 3. Let's see if they can roll 80 gold in 1 round.
Oh boy, I mean, this is, what people have talked about before, the whole roll a little bit ahead of time. Because, for Yucca, the one thing they've got is a lot of carry items. There is another Karma. So that's at least part the way there, but they're starting to run out of gold. They're running out of time. They have got not a surplus of either, and I think they're going to end up being disappointed. They've got the Garen at least. They've got a few items to chuck around the place, but no home for that blue buff.
Yeah, no home for the blue buff, which is a little bit unfortunate. However, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can just put it on Garen. It's fine there. Also, Karma did just one-shot the Lucian, which is really what you're going for. I think that was the difference you talked about, right? The Garen MR shred meant that unit just died, whereas previously didn't happen. Another death cap, possibly. Okay, BT for the Nidalee 3 is probably fairly sensible. Are they not playing another? Okay, they're just playing that instead. Well, they've got another Soraka. So many units. I do agree, though, that I think just playing a second Karma with these items is correct. Why not at this point?
I generally don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the items if they don't do this, and They've at least got Sarakatu up, so I guess Sarakatu is going to be our substitute Karma to keep 6 Dawnbringer in the comp. They've got the items, they've got to make a commit in here. We are down to our top 4. It's very tight here. Sapphire and Brabants, the 2 top players. Lucas.
Oh, no, this is bad.
Oh, the 3-star Nocturne right onto the Karma. It may be over just as quickly as that, tearing through all the competition. And the only difference maker could be the Garen is still up and fighting, but by themselves.
Yeah, no, this isn't enough, I don't think. Yeah, 4 units, that will be death. And yeah, I mean, once again, you don't position for assassins, you just lose. Like, the Karma was on the outside for some reason. Not entirely sure why. I mean, yeah, if you want my opinion on what the optimal board was there, it was to play 2 Volley Bears and 2 Karmas, right? It looks a bit weird just to play duplicate units, but yeah, you're definitely right that double Karma would be correct.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just in that situation, isn't it? You know, that's where TFT can really come alive, is putting you into these unusual situations. And I think that's why people like having the traits as droppable items, just because it forces you to play a different game than you kind of had planned to. But let's see, Brabants, they have positioned pretty decently. Of course, oh, hello. No, don't go look at the empty board.
We kind of spectate Omniscient Pot, right?
Oh, we can, that's right. I forgot. Oops, excuse me. Where are you? Alright, here we go. So, even with all of the... So there's no Last Whisper in there for that Nocturne, but it's still tearing through what looks to be a triple Ironclad team.
I mean, yeah, I do think the Fiddle's doing quite a lot. They do have a Fiddles 2 with a Sinspat and also 6 Assassin, which is always quite nice. And also a Death Cap. I didn't notice the Death Cap as well. Yeah, this is a pretty stacked Assassin board. I actually really do like the QSS though. I think QSS is probably one of the better items on Nocturne, just because he's like single, like he's like the main damage dealer and he's fairly squishy. He requires auto attacks to stay tanky and heal up. So just stopping people from CCing you, it's pretty nice, especially when people are playing things like Rel and Volibear. I don't actually know if they're playing Volibear on the other board, but like Volibear is a unit that people play.
Oh, for sure. So the Draven comp ultimately made it to top 2. We'll keep our eyes on that Draven on the right-hand side of your board to see if they avoid getting killed. Right now, they're as far away as they could be from danger, so they're actually doing pretty nice stuff. We've got the Runans. Radiant Runans is going to allow them to do multiple target damage, and I think Sapphire's got this one. The Assassins, we've been paying so much attention to them all game long, but ultimately, it was the newly buffed Draven which took the whole lobby.
Absolutely, and I think the main difference there, like obviously the Radiant Hurricane
Jack it up. me so messed up. Don't ignore the signs. We've had enough of the whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out. What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out. Find a way out. Find a way out. Find a way out. Find a way out.
I got enough of every melody. They all sound the same. Yeah. For my broken heart, no remedy. But maybe if you stay, we can get away with it. 'Cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions, just to show me what's on the other side of inhibition. No apologies, my baby. I do you do 'cause I'm feeling so good. Ooh. I do you do 'cause I'm feeling so good. Ooh. Oh, my darkest memories, now let me fall back. But you'll be there, ready to rescue me if I go out of track. We can get away with it. 'Cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions, just to show me what's on the other side of inhibition. No apologies, my baby. I do you do 'cause I'm feeling so good.
Howdy, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to round number 2. Hooah! It's our beautiful faces once more, because we have got ourselves at least, well, we've got the 2 follow-on rounds. So, Blob, we've had one game so far across 3 different lobbies. So we'll just take a little look as to see what other people were doing, and for anyone who's just joining us in round 2. So, for the lobby that we were watching, Sapphire managed to take the whole thing with a Draven composition in a situation we thought was going to be, completely rolled over by assassins.
Yeah, that was mostly just a demonstration of the power of positioning, right? The assassins were destroying everyone who wasn't positioning for them, and then as soon as someone does, it's a fairly comfortable win.
So let's take a quick look at the other lobbies there. So lobby 3, which only had a few of our players in, was actually dominated by a 3-star Yasuo Nightbringer composition, which tore through everything with Teemo comp, interestingly enough, as the secondary and Sentinels as the third. So we are seeing a pretty large amount of Yasuo coming through. Those buffs you mentioned before do seem like they're working.
I mean, yeah, I did say that would happen, but, I wasn't expecting it to do quite so well today, I guess.
Well, there was one lobby, the lobby 2 from the previous round, which was won by, looks like a collection of sort of good stuff plus a double Giant Slayer Viego to win the entire thing, but hey, I guess anything could happen in round number 2, and that's what we've got for you right now. Let's head across, and we've got 6 POVs, so we are absolutely spoilt for choice.
It's so spoiled for choice. It's almost as if we have spectator mode.
It's almost, but not quite there. All right, so Blob, let's see. Who have we got? We got Stybix, we got Omniscient Bots, we got Alafron, we've got Jaren, we've got Yurka, and Miss Mochi. I'm actually going to go look at Miss Mochi because I spot a very cool headband.
I mean,
Fantastic.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool headband. Also, very swept over hair.
Very. Gosh. I didn't expect to encounter such a variety here, but I don't know if I could pull it off myself, honestly. But it's cool to see other people do it. So, as far as the current point standing goes, I believe we have got a... let's see. So yes, Sapphire 15p and Zhao Zhao, the 3 players who came through with wins from the first round. So let's see if we can find someone else's point of view where we can see the lobby members a little bit more clearly. There we go. So Levin, and of course Yurka here, Stybix, Alafron, Padler, Lucas, Not Gamer Girl, and Jaren. So I think if we actually managed to avoid having any of our top players in this lobby.
Very skillfully, I assume.
Wow.
This is just what happens with random. Yeah, it's just random seeding, right?
Yeah, no, it's
happen.
totally random.
So I assume the other lobby might have 3 people in it. The 3 top people in it, which should be interesting.
Well, it certainly puts into contrast what we were seeing from before. With people complaining about having to play against everybody else who is also high ranked. Alright, we're all set up. So, Yurka in the early going for a decent Forgotten setup there.
Yeah, Forgotten setup, they only have 3 Forgotten, they don't have the Thresh just yet. They're not having any items. They probably don't need to against this opposing board that has 3 1-stars. I mean, they stand a bow, which I'm not too confident about, but it's fine. They're gonna win this regardless, so bit of a waste, but oh well. Also, I'm getting a little bit of echo, by the way, so I don't know why that's happening.
I have no idea why that would be the case. Let's just see.
I always hate hearing my own voice.
Oh no! That's weird because I wonder why that is. You shouldn't be able to. Is it coming back from my microphone or through the screen share? I don't know. We'll try to figure that out.
Anyway, it's fine. I can deal with it. Oh, they do actually find the Thresh here, so I mean, they are now in pretty good shape. Full Forgotten's a lot of power, just in and of itself. The only issue is it's just like you've got like 7 things you want to play. You want to play the Ranger, you want to play the Cavalier, you want to play a Knight. Like there are so many auxiliary synergies you can play here, but hopefully they'll just be able to work this one out fairly easily.
Yeah, well, we've certainly got the boost on the Hecarim and the Vayne most strongly, but the items aren't being committed as of yet. I mean,
they probably should be at this point, because actually, well, I know they just lose this one regardless. It doesn't matter what they do. I completely underestimated the power of Archangel Poppy. And it kind of just it did so much damage to that Vayne. It just 2-shot her with the shield. An unusual item. Usually that goes on a Ziggs, but clearly it's working reasonably well here.
So I guess it does, it sort of makes some amount of sense. Is that a thing? You put a, because oftentimes frontline units will have these really huge mana pools because they're getting a lot of their mana from being hit. So does it make sense then to put your Archangels on the frontline unit because you're expecting to get off a cast very quickly?
I mean, yeah, I've seen it a fair few times, specifically on Galio and Garen. But I've never seen it on Poppy, I don't think. So it's not unheard of, but it's definitely not the most common thing.
Alright, so we've had a bit of an abrupt change from Yucca here as they switched across to be a Nightbringer Cavalier Yasuo comp. Unfortunately, Yasuo straying away from the pack there to presumably get picked off, or at least half health, by the Kha'Zix very quickly against Lucas, who's level 5, so you certainly expect them to be winning. It's a bit closer than you would have maybe thought it would be on paper.
Yeah, level 5, but all the units are 1-star, so like this board isn't as strong as it really could be. And I'm a bit scared for Lucas because, well, they've got some pairs on the bench. If they don't hit fairly soon, by the time it gets to 2-5, 2-6, other people I think are going to be stronger than them.
Alright, so let's check in the lobby overall. Stybix and Levin and Lucas are all undefeated coming into Carousel, whereas Jerin and Padla looks like they're the players who've been most heavily loss streaking on with not Game Ago. Oh, not Game Ago? It's a little hard to read.
Yeah, it is an O, which is I believe how Gru from Despicable Me says girl.
Oh, really?
I mean, from my memory of those movies, which was a while ago. Yes, that is what I remember. Probably they just couldn't get Not a Gamer Girl with an I, because that's kind of a name you'd expect to be fairly common. Regardless, Jerkade does pick up a Rod, and probably slams a dual golem because it's a pretty good Yasuo item. The real question is, what are they going to do with their sword? Because it's kind of just sat there, and it's not a particularly good item in this comp.
Alright, it looks like we are going to see that dual gauntlet, so up against Levin here, who's gone fairly heavily into skirmishes in the early going, and they've got themselves a nice Warmog as well to make the most of that early skirmisher shield based off max HP.
Yeah, absolutely. The issue here really is that, again, they're all 1-stars. So I think this Yasuo is actually going to just cut through them fairly efficiently. Maybe Nidalee can dodge a million times and it's fine, but yeah, probably not. So yeah, Levin gets a loss there, loses their streak. They do have 10 gold, so it's not that bad, but I'm sure they would have preferred not to lose their win streak right there, but that's what happens when you play all 1-stars.
Well, that means we're left in a lobby with no winners, or no undefeated lobbies, or undefeated teams heading into Krugs. Everybody has taken some sort of damage. You might see one player able to sneak through, but we've got so many POVs, Blob. This is what it's going to feel like when eventually Spectator turns up, that we're spoiled for choice and we actually have to limit how many players we look at, otherwise we're going to end up just making the narrative needlessly confusing. But I think we've got a good idea of what Yurka's going for. So,
yeah. This board's not going to be particularly interesting until level 7 when it'll start rolling down. So yeah, we can go and see someone else. Maybe they've got a more exciting board.
Let's see. So who have got who's maybe very near the top or near the bottom? Jaren is near the bottom though. I think their stream is. Oh no, their stream's doing okay. We'll stay with them for a little bit. It's not great. We'll try and stay with people who've got the higher quality team just for the sake of the viewers. But we at least get an idea of what they're going for, which is Spellweaver Hellion. What's your stance on the Spellweaver changes to mean that there's no longer a cap to how many times that can activate?
I think they're good. Like Spellweaver Knights is actually one of the stronger openers, I think. It's not perfect or anything, but it's pretty good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see people going for Spellweaver Knights. Of course, the issue is that the early Spellweavers really like blue buff, and then Vel'Koz doesn't. So it's a little bit tricky to do a full transition, but, you know, Shojin Ziggs is fine. It's just you've really got to accept that you're not going to play optimally early game to play better late game.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, certainly, you know, if you're looking to stay in that lane. Let's talk a little bit about Alapron, though, who's currently in the middle of the table. Decent amount of gold. And a decent amount of help.
And a Nico's help. Which is always nice to get on Krogs rather than on the starting minions, I guess is what they are. Because this doesn't really impact your eco that much. And, you know, if you happen to hit a pair of 4 costs fairly efficiently, which can very easily happen, you can hit a 4 cost at... So you can hit basically any 4 cost. It's not unreasonable to hit one of them by the time you get to the carousel, and you might just find the other one on the carousel and then just Nico, you have a 2-star 4 cost. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. It would still be a pretty high roll and exciting and all that, but, you know, it's a potential option. We do actually see the Rageblade Slam though, which is an interesting thing because I've very much gone off of Rageblade because
really?
The thing is, right, they nerfed Lucian. They nerfed specifically his magic damage. I personally think that Rageblade Lucian now isn't as good as it was. Like I've had games and I've seen other people have games where you hit Lucian Galio 6 Sentinel very, very early. You slap like a Rageblade Bloodthirster on him and be like, oh, I can go Kale, and then you just die because Lucian does no damage. So I kind of a little bit worried here, but maybe if this bow becomes like a Giant Slayer, there is a sword on the bench, the Lucian could have enough damage.
Well, keep an eye out for that. Noticing a little bit of Assassin Spatula sneaking around as well there for leaving. So intrigued to see where they end up taking that long term. But for Alapron, they will level up, grab themselves an extra unit in to try and prop up their performance. So right now, if with what we're looking at here, so Sentinel, Skirmisher, and Knight, it all feels fairly generically good.
I mean, absolutely. This is just generic good board. Like, yeah, they've got... This is the traditional, oh, I'm playing Flex, Lucian, Jax, Draven, Akshan, Kale. Which, as I said, I don't think works quite as well anymore because, like, they use different items now. But yeah, like, this is just good stuff board and Flex later game. Whether or not it'll work is another question.
So Jaren, while we haven't been keeping an eye on them, they snuck in Abomination to their composition, so Spellweaver Abomination seems to be on the cards. Certainly know that the Vel'Koz and Abomination go pretty well together longer term.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Abomination is just... It's a weird one because it's just basically an extra unit. Obviously, it's the follow-up to Mech and Cultist. But yeah, having that extra unit, that extra little bit of CC, also a reasonable amount of damage, it definitely helps save time for the Spellweavers to fully ramp up.
Alright, so after this round we'll switch across. Stybix. We haven't seen a ton of Stybix so far, so they're running Hellion with their Archangel's Poppy, which you mentioned before. We'll see how well it works as the Tristan gets actually hooked fairly early into the round, so won't have as much chance to ramp up that Deathblade as they perhaps would like, but does Escape Out get CC'd again? Jeez, the setup here from Alapron's been pretty good at keeping this Tristana from going off.
Absolutely. I mean, Tristana is... I think Tristana reroll is kind of a thing right now. I've seen it a couple times. But honestly, I think Stybix is going to struggle with their board. They've only got a 1-star Tristana. And yeah, I don't think it's going to work out super well for them unless they really start hitting.
Alright, we'll keep a close eye on them. So let's switch around. Let's find someone else to go with since we're spoilt for choice here. Actually, well, let's check back in with Miss Mochi because we only didn't show them before because they couldn't actually see the scoreboard very well. So do bear that in mind when you're doing your own TFT streaming. That scoreboard is a good place to keep visible. But hey, when you've got a headband like that, you can do what you like.
Indeed, indeed. So they are playing something. They haven't really committed to anything, right? They've got this Yasuo, and they slam out Lassus rather than the Hurricane.
Ooh.
So that really says that they're not going Yasuo. Probably because someone else is going Yasuo, right? I'm sure there was someone else who had a Yasuo board. Like, okay, I don't want to contest this. They've got the Nocturnes on the bench, so going for Nocturne as your carry is reasonable. And yeah, they end up putting in some Renewers, which is always nice. This is a pretty reasonable board just to try and play and go level 7, level 8. But I expect them to do pretty well with this Yasuo too, as long as they don't get Lucian down.
Yeah, so not Gamer Goal is, he's on a two win streak right now, so they've got a chance to take a win streak into Krugs if they can win this round. But it's looking like the Lucian and Alifron's comp is just a little too strong to let that happen, so they'll have to settle for merely their 5 gold from their gold bank.
Yeah, at this stage, like, you don't care. Like, obviously, you do care about win streaks because they are still money. But when you have the 50 gold, it's significantly less money, and you're less bothered by it. We do see the Zephyr, which is probably the best of these items. You already have a bunch of defensive stuff, and yeah, they immediately snap it up. Yeah, so these are some very, very good Nocturne items. The only issue is, right, they don't have a Nocturne team comp. They don't have any other assassins. They don't have the Revenants. All right, well, there's a Revenant.
There's an assassin.
As an assassin. So they could very easily fit this in. You could play these 3 over Yasuo, Vladimir, and Aatrox, and you would have a reasonable board.
It's interesting that they've decided not to go for that for this round, holding off on committing in. But yeah, would have to sell a 2-star Yasuo to get to that point. As Jaren has got themselves the Radiant Blue. Of course, we actually skipped over some of that Radiant stuff, so we'll have to take a whip round and see what people have got. But that seems a pretty good item, certainly for the Ziggs right now. And you mentioned before, but we haven't seen a ton of it, the potential for a Gwen later on to really rock with that one.
Well, Radiant Blue buff, Normal Blue buff, they're basically the same on Gwen, because she only has 20 mana. But yes, it will work reasonably well on Gwen. It'll work very, very well on Karma.
True.
So, I mean, yeah, with those items, pretty good. And it's fine on Vel'Koz. Like, it's not optimal, but it's fine. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
All right, well, let's take a whip round while we've got the chance and see what everyone else is up to. So, let's see. I believe we've got Starbucks' POV, and oh my gosh, look at that bench. So they've got an interesting setup here. That curious Poppy from before now has got 2 different kinds of redemptions, as well as that Archangel. So it looks like they're going to be going to 3-star at level 5. Remember, we talked about this, I think, last time we were on broadcast together. That people were tending to roll at level 6 rather than at level 5 for their Hellions, just to make sure they maximize their chances of picking up Tristanas.
It's specifically also because you don't care about Kled. Kled is a terrible unit because he messes up your positioning. Typically, you want everything backlined so that your Tristana jumps behind their carry. Which it's fine when people don't backline their carry, like if they're playing Yasuo. But yeah, typically that's what you want. So yeah, they're going for the old style of Hellions where you just hit like 17 3 costs and hope that's just enough regardless. I'm not sure if it will be, but we'll have to see, won't we?
Well, it's working well enough for Starbucks right now. They're up to the top of the table. They'll be getting a few more items in as well. So presumably they will be looking for a 3rd item for that Tristana, who's very, pretty far distance off of hitting 3-star. But take that back. They're at least up to 2-star. Do you think they slam it in this Ginsu's?
I think they probably do. They're going to be last pick. You're not going to get anything better than a Ginsu's. Unless they scout to the Blessing, which we haven't because we can't. And they see, I'm going to get like 13 components. Yeah, okay. see that we're just gonna slam a Rage Blade. It's a fine item. They're gonna get like another 2 items at least, 2 components. So maybe they can get like Umbrello for the cannon. That'd be nice. But we'll have to see.
All right, so far this front line with the 2-star Poppy has held up well enough with the Night buff. Go up against Lucas, who has got themselves the old I guess, yeah, it's still called the Fortnite competition. With Jack supported by a whole bunch of Ironclad and Knights, which all do a very good job of resisting this purely physical damage composition that Styrex has put together.
It also helps when you hit a Viego on 7 and it steals your opponent's main carry. Yeah, that's always very useful. I mean, these items are very good. Radiant BT, QSS, are very, very powerful items on this Jax. And yeah. But yeah, the Viego, I think, is probably the main thing. Oh, well, Poppy 3, maybe that'll make a difference.
I believe that is a pretty big boost in terms of tankiness and damage as well with the Archangel, so that's certainly something. I guess, alright, I'll tell you what, we've spent a little while with Styrex already, so we've got an idea of what they're up to. They're up at the top of the table, they probably are going to stay near there for a while. So, let's see, who have we not seen for a while? We saw I'm not seeing bot in the previous round. Yerka, I don't think we've looked at them for ages. What are they up to? It's Nightbringers. It looks like it's going to be an Aphelios and Yasuo composition together.
I mean, yeah, the Aphelios and Yasuo, like, Aphelios honestly isn't that good a unit unless you like get all the items on him and get the synergies around him. Like he's fine supporting and he'll do a little bit of damage here, and by a little bit, I mean he probably one-shots like 4 units, yeah, like that. But honestly, I think the main issue is that they only have 3 Yasuos. Like they're really, really far away from Yasuo 3, which is kind of the late game power of this comp. So a little bit scared for where this is going to end up. Maybe they just have a Yasuo 2 and they try and get like a Rage Blades or a Last Whisper or a BT for this Aphelios and just have the duo carry and just have a random Yasuo 2 with some items on it.
Alright, we'll keep an eye out for Paddler and for Leavin. Actually, do we have a Leavin POV? I feel like we should, but we don't. Okay, never mind. So we'll keep an eye out for Paddler and for Leavin, since we haven't actually got those noted down as to who they're playing or what kind of comps they're running right now. But for the overall, I believe so. We've got Stybix, who's running the Hellion Tristana. We've got Omniscient Bot, who's running the Fortnite Jax. Not Gamer Girl or Miss Mochi running the Nightbringer / Knight kind of setup there. Let's actually check in fully. So, yeah, so they have officially now finally moved across to a Nocturne plus stuff.
I mean, they're only one away from Nocturne 3, by the way.
Oh, jeez. Okay, there they go. They bite up. Are they going to commit in this round? They've got amazing items for that Nocturne.
I'm surprised they're not just slamming the Hurricane on him, because it doesn't really get much better than the Hurricane on Nocturne. Though weirdly, they're just trying to play also with Akshan. There's got this random Akshan in here. I don't know why, but he is there.
I guess I could see that making sense if you don't have the Last Whisper. In terms of, it's going to buff up your Nocturne by shredding armor, but yeah, it did not work terrifically well there, so Not Gamer Girl has only got a few more moments left in the game. They're currently on 10 life total at the bottom of the table. They're going to need to, if they're going to make any decisions, it's going to be coming into this next round.
Yeah, like, when you're low, you typically want to spend your money, because obviously money is worthless when you're dead. So I do expect them to roll down and try and hit this Nocturne 3, maybe even just level up as well, and throw in something else. Not entirely sure.
Tearful goodbyes on the stream, but not a lot of rolling, not a lot of change going on. This could be the end here.
Oh, they hit it.
Use,
no, they didn't need
no, they didn't use the Nico! Oh my gosh, that's what happens. Oh my gosh.
Dear. APM betraying them there.
Alright,
it's tragic. I think they lose this. I think they're just dead. There's too much damage coming out of this Riven.
The Riven goes straight for the Nocturne and tears them to pieces. It's maybe a little bit close, but in a world where that could have been a Nocturne 3. Oh, it's too violent. Too hot for TV. We'll have to switch across to someone else, but we'll keep an eye on the scoreboard, because I think that will be the end of Not
Yeah,
Good
they're
Girl.
dead.
Yep, they are out of there. What a
Dead with
shame.
50 gold and a Nico on their bench.
Oh, that's gonna stick in your craw. Hey, at least they were pretty close to a comeback, but it won't happen this game. There's one more game, of course, to go after this, so hopefully they'll get a chance to pull it off the next time out.
And yeah, so switching completely, we do see Joker actually fairly, and by fairly I mean 4 away, from a Aphelios 3, which would be a very interesting path to take. Because that's a pretty powerful. Oh, okay then.
Oh,
With that spatula, and I mean, not Rageblade, RFC is fine. It gives a bunch of attack speed, which he kind of needs. Going for Aphelios 3, not out of question right now.
I'm kind of curious to see Yoko rolling here, because presumably this is going to make it a lot more difficult to have happen, though. They're finding a lot of forecasts at level 7. Presumably their chances are going to be a lot better at level 8.
Yes, forecast chances are better at level 8. However, it does cost like 50 gold to go to level 8. I think it's 42 right now. No, 44 because it's multiple of 4. So yeah, it is quite expensive, and then when you go there, you just don't have any money to roll.
True.
So whether or not it's better to level up or not is a question, which I don't know the answer to, I'll be honest.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, trying to figure out where that break point is. But right now, these Nightbringers are doing a great job. They've torn through nearly everything that Levin's got, and they win out conclusively. So, Yasuo doing a lot of work there. But the damage graph, which popped up for a second, actually showed Aphelios with only that single item of the Deathblade actually doing the majority of the Nightbringer team damage.
I mean, yeah, it's surprising how much he does, I guess. I guess his 2-star Aphelios with a Deathblade cast is pretty strong, especially with the damage amp from when you get the Nightbringer shield as well is also nice. I've actually seen people go Archangel Staff on Aphelios hilariously because his mana pool is so large. It's not a bad item. It's better than Locket at the very least, and Titans is fine as well, obviously. But yeah, it's something to think about.
They're definitely a little tempted. I mean, there's a couple of defensive options here. Guardian Angel, Titans Resolve as well, though I'd have to imagine Titans would take a while to stack up. Guardian Angel, it's a guarantee that you'll go...
Guardian Angel is probably the sensible item, but Archangels is the spicy item.
And we're all about the spice here. Well, they're going to go for...
Well, if they're going to pick, otherwise it'll be chosen randomly.
Alright, Guardian Angel, it will be the standard, which makes sense, especially with the Deathblade. Then once you come back up again, you can make use of all those stacks. Up against Lucas, notice the 3-item Viego on the backline. Unfortunately for Lucas, it only ends up picking up a Vladimir and doesn't actually even kill them. So that's a little unfortunate, as the Guardian Angel is going to pay off straight away with Jax on the backline, and Aphelios comes back to life just late enough to avoid taking aggro again.
Yeah, but he didn't get another cast off, unfortunately. Another cast probably would have killed like 3 units there. Yeah, but unfortunately wasn't quite there. Is fairly close to getting the blessing though, which is always good. We don't know what it is. It's going to be a surprise for all of us. But hopefully it's something good.
Alright, well, we've got an idea for what Yerka's up to, so let's see. Who have we not looked at for a little bit? Alifron. So they've looked like they're in the middle of a transition themselves. They've got 3 very tasty-looking carry items on the bench, with no immediately obvious place, apart from, I guess, a second Lucian to put them.
Yeah, second Lucian, pretty good place for them. The real place they want to go, I think, is Akshan. He works very well with Rage Blades and especially Radiant Bloodthirster. I don't think this Lucian will be doing very much. The one with the Deathblade and the Dual Gauntlet, I think, will be doing a lot of work. Especially if units just walk into the front of the firing squad like these assassins do. However, the 3-star Riven Assassin seems to be strong enough to put Alifron down at that 1 HP.
So the Assassin Ribbon definitely kind of ones that's, I think, that snuck under a lot of radars, just some sort of, I guess, casual play. What is it about the Assassin Ribbon that works so well?
It's more that her spell gives her flat base AD, so she scales very, very well with crit, especially as a 3-star. I think even when IE was terrible, like a really, really bad item. It was actually better on 3-star Riven than Deathblade. Just because she gets so much AD from her spell. And so just basically having free crit damage from assassins is really, really good. And yeah, you can see that she did a lot of damage there.
So it looks like Alethron's kind of given up on the idea of 3-starring the Lucian, to have put the items on the second one. Oh no, actually I suppose...
Yeah, you can always pop them off.
But only if you actually get the Lucian to 3-star. I guess that's not too likely to happen at this point, given that there's no more money left in the bank for Alethron to work with.
Yeah, it's very much an if you hit type of thing. But I think if they hit an action, they'll move these items anyway. But if they happen to hit 3 more Lucians, why not hit a Lucian 3? We do see them against this Tristana, who is very well known for being excellent at jumping into Lucian's face and then dying immediately. And I think this is a pretty comfortable win.
So wasn't that the idea of the positioning that people were doing with the Tristana, to kind of surround her with units to try and stop her from doing this kind of thing?
Oh no, it's specifically you want your units to be far enough back that Lucian walks up and then Tristana jumps behind him, so she's not in the line of fire. Which, as you saw, she just jumped into the face of 2 Lucians and just died instantly.
And that was the reason you were saying before that the Kled was...
Yeah, which is why Kled is bad.
Yeah, you want to keep him out of the comp.
Tristana has 5 range anyway, so it's really hard to stop her from attacking any unit.
Alright, so Alethron keeps alive on 1 health.
Oh, Fleo's 3. Jerk a hit.
Oh, really? Damn. Alright, I'm sure we'll get a chance to see them, but I'll note that down that they've hit the 3-star. I'll put a little 3 stars after their note. There we go. Ingenious. Alethron, though, has got to fight for their life in every single round up against the ghost of a Jax comp here, who is slowly chewing their way through. Unfortunately, Lucian does not fire at the Jax, so it's going to be the end of Alethron, with the final insult being the stealing of the Lucian.
And yeah, Viego stealing Lucian. I mean, it's always a bad matchup, right? Jax into Lucian, where you just get bullied by 4 knights. They almost managed to squeeze out a 6th, but not quite there. Yeah, here we go. This is the famed Lucian, the famed Aphelios 3. They actually choose to remake the Yasuo here, which I'm a bit surprised by because they're only 2 away from Yasuo 3. Like RFC, they wanted to put the RFC on the Yasuo, I guess. But RFC Aphelios was fine as well. But yeah, RFC Yasuo, they're gonna level up and do something, I guess, like play another Sejuani. Like, I mean, what do you even do? You've got a 3-star Aphelios, you probably win the game. Like 3-star Aphelios specifically, I think is one of the strongest 3-star forecasts. Like, I've had games where I'm like, oh, if I did a 3-star Draven, I'm okay. And then I go against a 3-star Aphelios and like, sure, Draven cuts through their front line like butter. But then Aphelios casts, it hits 10 units and your Draven dies anyway. So, yeah, I do expect this to basically one-shot the entire board regardless. And especially with the GA and the Hodge, like, even this Vel'Koz isn't going to do a thing. If anything, this Vel'Koz is just giving mana to the Aphelios.
That's true. Well, so one question I wanted to pitch you here was, where do you kind of value bringing in extra ranges here and dropping out some Nightbringers to try and sort of maximize your DPS from Aphelios?
I think what is very reasonable is just push 9 and play 4 range, absolutely. Like I think having 6 Nightbringers is really good as well because it just gives you enough frontline to just body people and let your Aphelios ramp up because you don't have Evoker, you don't have Rageblade. So it is quite hard to get this Aphelios 2 cast, but when he does, he goes off. So I think the Nightbringer is very reasonable to keep in.
Yeah, interesting choice of the Sunfire Cape there. I was kind of maybe expecting to see a move towards some, maybe the Locket just to buff up this backline a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Sunfire is a wrong choice because Aphelios one-shot everyone anyway. You don't care about them healing because they're dead. So another Redemption would have been fine to keep your frontline alive for longer. The Locket would have been good just for the extra beef that it gives. I mean, yeah, but so Sunfire, like, it's usually, I can get some anti-heal. This means I won't get bullied by some healing it. You don't care. But anyway, we'll find out how much they don't care when they one-shot their entire bot. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It's a Aphelios 3.
Well, one thing I did
We're
notice
nitpicking
here,
at this point.
which is kind of curious, and there might be a difference maker here. Oh no, never mind. It's that is
Yes.
a triple trap claw on that 3-star ribbon.
Yeah, triple trap claw is actually kind of fun tech. The only issue is once Akshan comes in, Akshan is just he pops trap claw like it's nothing because every shot of when he's swinging around counts as a spell. So basically, instantly pops triple trap claw. So once that comes in, that won't be a counter at all.
All right, we're down to our top 3: Omniscient Bot or I Am Lucas. Point of view player Yucca and Leave in here. So we're seeing Omniscient Bot's board, who did let us know that they've switched across fully to Viego carry. We can see here doing its work. But again, these Vladimir's being positioned well to absorb the Viego shots, but the second one will be good enough to grab something
Oh, it
worthwhile.
dodged. Okay, it didn't matter, but it did dodge the Aphelios ult. It just doesn't matter at this point, does it? I mean, the way to position around this, by the way, the way to beat this as Omniscient Bot is to Viego the Aphelios, right?
Sure.
Like, Thresh with his blue buff will pop the Aphelios' Trap Claw, and then your Viego should CC him and get him down to his GA, and then he'll come back and kill you when you lose anyway. But like, that's the plan, right? Like, that's the way to pop the GA, and maybe in that time of the CC and the GA, you can do something about it.
Well, we were actually down to our top 2 now, Leaving getting knocked out in the previous rounds. So our top 2 players on 30 and 27 respectively. They've both got win streaks right now, and we're seeing the big spend from Yucca. I think they are headed, well, they've got up to level 9.
Yeah, they're going for the Invoker.
Yes, so they could have brought in another Ranger here, but decided to go for Invoker instead. I mean, I guess that roughly puts you into the same kind of area, while also buffing up your Yasuo at the same time.
Oh yeah, Invoker is very, very commonly played with Aphelios. Usually you play Teemo Ivan, and then you play like a Volibear as well. Yeah, it's...
Oh, Aphelios got caught, but he has got the Guardian Angel, and I don't think Viego will actually even bust through the Guardian Angel.
Yeah, he doesn't even take him out in one shot. I mean, it's just Aphelios 3. There's nothing you can do. It's a 3-star forecast. Just surrender his best move right here.
Well, Jax is doing his best. Unfortunately, his best not quite good enough. So for Lucas, a level 8 to Yucca's level 9. I don't know if Lucas has got enough. Actually, we can go and have a look for ourselves and see what can Omniscient Bot even try. Oh no, they've got no money at all. Oh boy. I kind of feel like, if anything, Viego, if they can't take out Aphelios, then what other target could you even look for?
I mean, there is no other target. Like, if you can't take out Aphelios, you lose. That's all this comes down to. They should even move the Aphelios over to the left here. Like, he could be one up further to the left. I mean, yeah, like, they move him away, but it doesn't matter. Like,
well, Jax is...
it's just over at this point.
So Jax is on the same side as Aphelios at least, so maybe he'll wander over there. Viego's avoided getting killed up until this point. We'll be able to get another cast off and maybe steal something worthwhile. Oh, actually, it's going to be a fairly tanky front line. Viego, the Aphelios is getting whacked down.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. As soon as Aphelios procs his Nightbringer shield, that's kind of it. Although, luckily, was able to take out enough to survive another round, and maybe Assassin Lee Sin is the tech. If you can get the Frozen Heart on the Aphelios, his attack speed will be much slower, and maybe that'll be good enough.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a really amazing drop from the Rift Cloud. Let's go and take a quick look and see. Let's see, Omniscient Bot and oh my gosh, I've had a brain freeze for a second. Forgot. And Yucca. Let's see what they're getting. So they are getting the Last Whisper. Not a huge amount,
which is worthless.
Yeah, they've got nowhere to put it.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. Akshan is pretty good.
Ooh, I like Akshan.
Oh yeah, you could. I would definitely play 4 Ranger here. You can put the Last Whisper on Varus, I guess. Okay, they're actually going to put these items on Akshan instead. I think this is Okay, no, they're not going to put the eyes on the next gen.
Keep
I
us
think this
guessing.
is probably correct. Like, getting the action in because your opponent is playing Ironclad, you don't have like that much armor shred is on a Varus. I mean, it is also Action, so you know, same thing.
All right, last chance here for I Am Lucas. You can see that Akshan's doing his work on the back line. It's looking like, unfortunately, as close as the previous round was, this one's not even close at all. Omniscient Bot with the 4 ranges cleans up the lobby. Very nicely done.
Yeah. When you hit Aphelios 3, you win games. And, well, you know, he played to his out, essentially. Saw the Aphelios, found the Nico. Well, here we go.
Alright guys, so that will bring us to the end of round number 2. I believe we'll still have some games ongoing, so we'll be headed to break for now, before we pick up our coverage, of course, for the final round. And then after that, our various different draws. Gosh, there's a lot of different draws to do at the end of every tournament. So many regrets. But either way, let's see. So I'm just going to check and see. So results-wise, we've got 2 of our lobbies done already. There's 1 still to remain. So I think we'll probably be looking to come back for around 20 past. But I'll update the timer on screen if that does change because of any kind of delayed lobbies and similar. So thank you guys for sticking with us. And we'll be back after the break with our final round.
What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out. Find a way out. On this journey we will find our souls begin to intertwine. Your heart of gold so pure, divine, and I lost myself within the fire, breaking free from my desire. A heart of gold forged to inspire. It's starfire. It's
Waste another day, eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time, buying things online, and it's not like we need them. We don't need them. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I were safe and sound. And we just slow down. For you and I were safe and sound. We were on the run, rocking around the clock. Now all we need is right here in front of us. In front of us. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I were safe
Howdy, howdy, everybody. It's time. We are back once more for our last death before it starts. There we go, Blob. You've fallen out the screen.
Yeah, definitely had the camera move a little bit. This is what I get for having my camera on a stack of books.
I don't know quite what's really. I don't quite know what's happened to our background there. It seems to have fallen asleep in the intervening time. I'll see if I can refresh it and get us back again.
You just happen to be sitting. Okay, you're no longer sitting in the void.
No, sadly no longer in the void, but we have got one more round before we are done here today with our main competition. So I think we will be able to get across that in a second. I think one of our players is having a little bit of trouble with their stream. So we've got just the 3 POVs for our final one of the day. So let's waste no more time and get into things. Let's go.
Oh, how exciting. Oh, we're already there. 3 POVs. Okay, this is much easier to manage. Hopefully they don't go 6, 7, 8. Who have we got?
Alright, so we've got Alifron. Let's tie these up with some actual scores as well, since that's probably useful. So Alifron, who's currently on 5 points overall. Not the strongest performance so far, but a chance to make some significant climbing in the last game. Omniscient Bot, or I Am Lucas, who is one of our tied top players right now. And Yuka, who is, let's see, where are they? I'm not sure, I can't quite find them right now, but I'll update you guys. Oh no, there we are. They are on 13 points to I Am Lucas's 14 points, so they are in tied second place, I guess, or I guess tied 6th place, with so many people currently up on the top of the score table.
So it's going to be very close between those two. Alifron, a little bit behind, probably, I don't think, can make it mathematically. But, you know, no one actually cares about winning. It's all about having fun. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. And, apparently, Introspective's got a stream as well, which is fantastic news. Let's see.
Well, it's always good to have a nice square number of streams so that one of them's not massively bigger than the others.
I think maybe I had Introspective, but it wasn't working. Let's see if they're up and working again now. Yes, they are.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Should we have a look at what they're doing then?
Yeah, why not? Introspective, not a player we spent a lot of time with, but I think they are. Let's see, where are they on the global rankings? Introspective is playing under a different name, I think.
Perfect.
All right, well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out as we go.
Are they one of the P people?
Oh,
15p is it?
They are IP. I like IP?
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're the 15p, maybe? No, I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, what we do have is a kind of an awkward start where they're just like, I guess we'll do this. They don't really have any items to slam. They don't have any upgraded units. Like, I mean, they could put a glove on a Callisto, but that's not going to make a difference. I don't know if they can make it through this Stone Plate Leona 2. If I had to guess, I'd say no, but I'm wrong. Apparently, these Spellweavers just haven't been able to ramp up enough to get through these nights. I was fully expecting this to be a loss, and they'd be sad because you lost to a level 3 person, but you won, and it's fine. They hopefully can hit some 2 stars and some good units on this armory and actually have a reasonable stage 2 board.
I think so. I think the reason why we've gotten a bit confused about the 15Ps and all kinds of Ps are that there's 2 players with 15P and 13P as their names, which is definitely confusing me a lot. I don't know where this particular player is on the lower ranking. It seems to be a little... Oh, wait. I think I just got blindness. They're on 10 points. So the most points you can get in a single game is 8. So between first and 13th place right now is only 4 points. So we could definitely see the whole table upturned in this final game.
Absolutely. I mean, 4 points away, it's pretty big. If you go first and they go like 4th, you still don't make it. But you know, there's a chance, right? And that's what you're going to go for. We do see a Warmog Slam, which is always very nice. Although, unfortunately, you are immediately hard countered by this Sunfire Leona. A lot of Leona 2s in this lobby. People really liking their one-cost knights, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's it's a lot of damage reduction, especially if people don't have anything which can really access the back line. Of course, Kalista's going to do her best impression of Illusion by shooting out the Lux on the back line, but I think just ultimately isn't going to be.
I mean, maybe
enough damage.
overtime spear.
Nah, it was close though. It was very close.
Yeah, she almost got the cast off. I think an overtime spear might have killed that Leona. Always hard to tell with Kalista, you know. They do find a Vayne too, but Vayne's kind of bad, you know. I don't really expect this to be better than a Kalista, especially without the like Kalista has Legionnaire, Vayne doesn't have Ranger, so not that good. I'd honestly prefer to sell this Vayne and just buy the Syndra, just because it's not a particularly good unit.
A little bit of switching around, so at least we know that I Like IP is checking out lobby and trying to make sure they don't fall foul of any positional errors. As we're up against Jaren here, who has managed to get themselves a good amount of early skirmishes. So we'll find out in a second what's going to happen there.
Yeah, the most important thing, make sure your settings are correct. Don't want to have bad audio balance. They do end up buying the Syndra. Vayne's just not a good unit unless you're really committing to her. So yeah, they do make a sensible decision there. And yeah, that 4 skirmisher pretty powerful with those 2 stars as well. And obviously Nidalee, always a pain when it comes to having just a squishy backline unit.
So to check it on the lobby overall, we've got ourselves a couple of 100s. Yuka and Jaren both up at the top, undefeated so far, but notable at the bottom, Alapron, who we mentioned before as one of our POV players and a player who needs to make up a lot of ground in this last game. They are down to 80 already, so some serious losses have come their way early on.
Yeah, I think that's 2 3s and a 4, if I had to guess. Or they're essentially lost by 10 units in total. Make that number up however you want. And honestly, their board, I can see why. Their board is terrible. Like, they've got like these knights. Are they just full open for like trying to do that or something? They appear to be playing, trying to play Draconic, but they've only got 2 out of 3 Draconics. They don't have that set in. They don't have an Ash, so yeah.
If any of our players watching now are considering, bringing in open forcing, so intentionally trying not to win into their games, I guess in this case we have got some units there for Alatron, so presumably they're trying to lose by the smallest margin possible.
Yeah, that's typically the idea of open for. I mean, obviously you do get like very extreme versions where you just lose everything, or you just get all the money you need. But yeah, typically it's lose by as few as possible, such as this, where you only lose by a Leona 1, by 1 Leona, not a Leona 1. It was a Leona 2. Don't worry about it. So yeah, that's an example of a very good loss. They are at now 40 gold. The thing to know here is losing this next one, winning this next one even, it effectively is a loss because you want to lose it. Would be really, really bad. And they should probably be scouting other low HP people such as Leven and seeing how weak is Leven. They are scouting Leven. And honestly, I think it's probably best to actually swap out this Zyra and just put in a Kalista. Like, make your board that much weaker, because I think there's a good chance you win this fight.
Yeah, well, they're up against another low table player, and I Like IP. Not quite as low as they are. They've got at least a Varus that's going to do a good amount of work, but you can see here Zyra is a good matchup against the Varus, able to access the backline straight away. Does get blown up, though, so Alepron gets a little lucky there and holds onto that loss streak heading into Krugs.
Yeah, that Syndra getting that last ult off on very, very low HP was very fortunate. Like, being able to kill the Zyra as well helped a lot. So yeah, able to maintain the 5 loss streak on a decent amount of HP, 74. We were talking about how minimum is like mid-50s. So you're 20 HP ahead of where you could be in worst case scenario. I would be very happy with the situation if I were Alafron.
No, I would be as well. Let's take a quick whip around though and see what we've got in terms of what comps people are running. So from Omniscient Bot, or I Am Lucas. So it looks like they're running a Skirmisher Sentinel.
Yeah, the classic opener. Can't really go wrong with it.
So for Yurka, it's Dawnbringer.
Yeah, it looks like they're going very much for the karma. They've got a blue buff, they've got a death cap. Those are karma items if I've ever seen one.
For Introspective.
Introspective. Yeah, this is the person who had the Callista earlier. They have moved it to Avaris, as we saw. They've got a decent amount of money. I think they're going to slam a TG here. Yeah. And yeah, like you've got your Varus. It's pretty strong. They've moved the Warmogs to the Leona, which I find quite interesting actually, because you had the Aatrox pair, right? Because it used to be on the Aatrox. And honestly, when you have two knights, Aatrox is usually a better tank than Leona because he has the healing. Like I know Leona is the tank, is the knight herself, but knights is a global buff, so you don't actually care about whether or not the knights themselves are tanky. Because yeah, I do think that Aatrox is good enough on his own with the Warmogs, with all the healing he can get.
Alright, well, sticking with the Redeemed for the time being. Looks like they'll be staying there as we are seeing levels coming in across multiple different players heading to
now
3
those are some good hits.
Oof. Alright, apparently we've got a little bit of a change of direction here, so Forgotten. We've got the chance to potentially switch across to being a Vayne comp. I can't imagine. Well, is that still a good thing to try at level 6 rather than a level 5 where you've got the best chance of finding them?
At this point, it's never Vayne. It's just too late at this point. I'm very surprised they slammed the TG on the Syndra of all things, and then it's like, oh, it's a stone player. I've got to kind of frontline her. Yeah, I think they're trying to angle towards a 4-knight build for mid game, and maybe try and go Kale this game. Although I do think that's probably a mistake, but who am I to say?
Well, I mean, they're certainly in the middle of the table right now as 15p takes a loss there, and we maybe see it's a bit of a turnaround. Just want to check in with Yurka there, who has kept their win streak going. So the Dawnbringer Legionnaire, so presumably built around the ribbon. No, it's actually going to be... Okay, so we've got a Karma stand-in of a Kha'Zix.
Yep.
And then just a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scuffed comp, I'll be honest. You've got all these units, and you're just like, well, it's fine. I'm surprised this is on a 7 win streak already. I know Kha'Zix with blue buff death cap is pretty strong, but only 3 Dawnbringer. They don't have a Gragas. It had a Gragas for Brawler as well. Then I could see it. But yeah, this has gone surprisingly well for Yurka.
Alright, so Kha'Zix doesn't quite jump on to the ideal target at the back there, so Zara will get a chance to probably pop the Kha'Zix, or at least very close to it, straight away.
But yeah, and obviously this is the issue with Kha'Zix. If he does get the isolation, he just dies, and yeah, does end up losing to the Draconic comp, which Alifron has finally hit.
Yes, let's see, so Draconic Abomination. Hey, I guess maybe a little bit of a throwback now. Certainly, you know, I do very much remember the days where it was absolutely everywhere multiple times in the lobby.
Oh yeah, I mean, patch day 1, it was hotfixed. It was so bad. It still was pretty strong. So it's definitely nowhere near as powerful as it used to be. But yes, it is still here, and you've got to deal with it. Another death cap is honestly not even bad, but I think it's probably bow here. Because the issue is here, right? You've got so many offensive items that say your Radiant Blessing only gives you offensive items. Then what are you going to do? Because your carry is fully stacked. If the Wolves only drop offensive items, your carry is fully stacked. You don't have anywhere to put these offensive items. Like, sure, you can put it on a Nidalee or a Riven, and that's fine. But obviously, they need fairly specific items. So it's a little bit scary picking up another offensive item here. They don't even slam it on the Kha'Zix. Even though I'm fairly sure it's actually better than a Dual Gauntlet to have double death cap. If my maths are correct. I haven't done the maths on this in a while. But I think it's better.
We rely on people on Reddit most of the time to do this maths for us.
I have done the maths myself previously. It's just that they change everything so often. And it's just like, well, I'm just hoping it's the same.
Well, that's the thing, I'm sure I've seen I must have seen about 5 or 6 different threads about, when to blue buff, when to Shojin, and similar, but Let's see. So we've got not fully offensive items, but pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close. Like, Titan's Vow is really the only... And it's kind of an offensive item anyway. Like, Guardian Archangel? Yeah, like... This is what I meant, right? What are you going to do with these items? Like, sure, you can put a Ginsu's Reckoning on a Nidalee and go Nidalee 3. That's fine, I guess. I've actually seen Ginsu's Reckoning Riven do a lot of work, but I'd be surprised to see that because we're not pivoting into something else because it's definitely not optimal.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, we've got great items for this Karma, but very little else left. As just as you predicted, it will be the diversification. So Gwynsu's Rageblade on there against Levin, who has got the Squid Abomination variation. Looking pretty good with that, with a very, very strong Nunu with the Radiant Dragon's Claw. So that's a front line that I think the whole lobby is going to struggle to get through.
Okay, so the main issue, especially like with this kind of thing, as you can see, like Levin has a nice front line. He's got a couple of frontline items. He's got really good units there. He's got the A-bomb as well coming out, and his Squid there has pretty good items as well. The thing with Dawnbringers specifically is they need time, and you saw how quickly the front line just disappeared right there. And that wasn't even that. Okay, it was a pretty strong board for the stage of the game, but it wasn't that insane. So yeah, they've really got to hope they can drop some belts and chains here to beef up this Nunu just a little bit.
There's a lot that needs to be coming in here, and it's unfortunately no. Denied.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Because Zizirot is effectively frontline. Also, that's a lot of 2-stars.
Wow.
Good player, I guess. 4 2-stars in a single shot. Please tell me how. They do now have the issue of like, what do I do? They probably should roll here and try and hit maybe a Lee Sin would be nice. A Gragas would be nice. Just something to play. Maybe even a Karma. Because you really do need to play something here. And like just a Syndra 1, I don't think is going to cut it.
Yeah, okay, he's on a loss streak right now, up against I Like IP, who has got themselves a Radiant Giant Slayer on their Lucian, so they should be able to cut through the front line pretty darn well. And unfortunately, the Kha'Zix is just roaming around attacking frontline units rather than getting anywhere near that Lucian at all.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. It is also a Lucian 2, level 7. Sometimes that happens, and by sometimes I mean all the time. Some people just spike really, really hard at this stage, and there's not a lot you can do about it.
Alright, so we'll keep an eye out for Yurko and if they start coming back into this, but let's pop around and see, because we got so many POVs, it seems a shame to miss out, because, oh, what's this Omniscient bot? They have just turned into a full-on Nocturne comp.
Yeah, full-on Nocturne comp, but without Assassin spam. And also without a Nocturne 2. They've only got Nocturne 1 right now. They've got Fiddle 2, but only Nocturne 1. And honestly, my opinion on Assassins is, if you don't have Sin Spat, you're going to lose. As you can see, they're on a 6 loss streak. They're trying to roll down for this Nocturne 2. They do end up finding it. But like they're left with like Radiant IE. Oh wait, is it Radiant IE or is that just normal? Oh, it's just normal IE on the bench. I mean, they've got double Reforger, I assume, from the Blessing. And it's just kind of like, well, guess we're sat here with these items. They don't even get a chance to use their GA. Their Nocturne just dies to this, the Zyra in the back here. Okay, he does end up reviving, so it's fine. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. It's close.
Whew.
Very, very close.
That's pretty good against a level 8 opponent in Alapron as well, so... Yeah, that's a big turnaround for Lucas at the bottom of the table right now with only 25 life left. They're going to need all the wins they can get, but they've got no money in the bank, so everything is flying by the seat of their pants.
Absolutely, and like they're still rolling is the main thing, and like I think they're really desperate here, and possibly even tilted, because I'm not entirely sure. Okay, they're rolling for the Diana. They didn't even have 4 assassin in. That's how bad it was. They do now have 4 assassin. And they're reforging the sword, which is an interesting choice.
Ooh.
Okay, they do get a Zizirot and a Sunfire if they want it. which is something, I guess. I mean, Sunfire's actually fine, as long as you don't get eaten by a Nunu.
Alright, it's leaving Squid Abominations coming through again. We can see that there's no access currently onto the Vel'Koz at the back, but it is, I believe, only a Vel'Koz 1. So it's
a Vel'Koz 1, but it's the Vel'Koz 1 that's doing pretty... Okay, no, it's not. It got Hurricane down. It was doing pretty well for a good period there. The Syndra peel, very, very useful. Yeah, this Revenant revive is really, really helping out and allowing this Nocturne not to just die instantly every round.
Alright, Lucas is able to steal away another bow. I'm just trying to mentally think through what they're going to do with that. I genuinely don't know.
They don't have any spare items, so nothing, I assume.
Right,
yeah, there was no... It was just a Teemo. Maybe they're just planning on playing a Teemo for Invoker. That's not a terrible plan, I don't think. You can replace the Rel. And just put this in and put the items on Ivan. Even though Zizirot on Revenants is always a bit scary. Or you can Zizirot Teemo, I guess. If you really want to.
I mean, if you're trying to
he's a backline unit, so
if you're trying to get the full Teemo experience, then having a taunt on them, I think, really helps your role-playing capabilities.
True. And yeah, obviously you don't want Teemo frontlines. Putting him behind the slightly tankier Ivan. They do Zizirot the Kha'Zix because I think they're thinking, oh, he's expendable. I can just replace this with a different Kha'Zix one if I find a better holder for Zizirot, which is pretty sensible, really.
Alright, so it's Jax versus Nocturne. We can see that the Jax came off much the worst there. So Nocturne, with the Last Whisper, is doing a pretty good job of chewing through this comp that, again, I've been talked about in the previous game, that on paper should be doing pretty well against the Assassins.
I mean, yeah, it's always... every time it's Assassins, it's always, oh yeah, it's a positioning thing. This is a Teemo too, by the way. With the... Did they do this? Did they get Teemo too?
Oh!
How exciting. Where the Jax got immediately focused down, and the Galio was the last one standing. Which is obviously not what you want against Assassins when your Galio has a Stoneplate and a Bramble. So yeah, it's just a matter of positioning, and Assassins are always a pain to position against, so why I think people like playing them.
Well, let's have a quick check around on the Yurko here, because we haven't seen them for a little while. In fact, they're going to be going up against Assassins, so we can see the point being proven. The double death cap you mentioned before as a potential best in slot for the Karma will unfortunately not get to pay off here, because Lucas's damage is just off the charts crazy.
Oh yeah, this is pretty high damage on this Nocturne, probably the highest possible with these. I mean, like, Last Whisper maybe could be an IE against some of these squishy units that don't have Ironclad, but in overall, this is probably like best Nocturne items if you don't get the Radiant RFC. Oh. And here we see some incredible items where you get more Reforgers that you don't want, and also a Magnetic Remover.
So my question to you, Blob, is should you be able to reforge a Reforger because you just don't need that many Reforgers?
I probably not, but also an angle here. A play that could be made would be reforging the Nidalee items.
Oh, I can see that.
You have three reforgers, so you've got a reasonable chance of getting a good defensive Radiant item, which is better than not having a good Radiant defensive item. Because as you've seen, like, the issue is if Karma doesn't get time to ramp up, it's got...
What? Wow, that's a bold
that is
play.
A play. Right. I think it's a bad play. But that is a play. I wonder, are they just angling to what? Are they just hit Karma too?
That is wild. Okay, so, I mean, this is a very bold play from Yurko. They've decided to throw in everything they've been doing up until this point and just say, I'm going to completely roulette my way to a new composition up against Darth OJ here, who... They've got an interesting setup for their Yasuo, but... should be a ton of damage. And yep, Yurko's comp is relying completely on the Nidalee to finish off the job here. It's gonna be tight, but I don't think she wins.
I don't think it's gonna be tight enough. It's Nidalee 2. If it was Nidalee 3, it would be fine. Also, they didn't put the Titans on the Nidalee, weirdly enough. I think Titans is much better on Nidalee than your random Riven that you have. But yeah, honestly, I think you're praying for a 7th at this point. with these items and this board, maybe load the dice and you can try and just hit everything because you're not that far away from these units. Although you have got 61 gold, so maybe roll a little bit.
And there's certainly enough redemptions going around. It's not a bad item at all for our good friend Rakan, who likes to sit just behind the front line and heal for all of one day. All right, we've got our direction. Apparently, it's double radiant tank. No, oh my gosh, it's reforged. All right, I'm into it. I've never seen anyone do this before, but hey, it's pretty neat.
I'm pretty sure they're going to reforge the death. They're going to probably put Deathblade on Nidalee and then reforge the Gunblade. Whoa! Okay.
Whoa! This is crazy. I love to see this in the very last game of the competition. It's Leaving Squids against who the heck knows from Yoka. We've got the laser going right across the entire squad at once, and I think that's going to be pretty much it for any chance of victory.
That's pretty much it. There's nothing really to do. I don't know if they die here. I think they do. This Riven's pretty strong, but I don't think she's strong enough.
Yoka does die
dead.
by only 2 HP off of a survival. 15p gets that coveted guaranteed 7th place, as that was some of the craziest TFT I think we've seen in the tournament so far, but all credit to Yoka for giving it a try.
Yeah, they made a play, and yeah, I think what the issue was there, they just had too much to think about. You saw they had so much gold that it just wasn't used. And that's one of the things, right? Is a lot of people have this really bad habit of only rolling during, like, preparation rounds. Even though, like, there's no limit. You can roll during a fight. You can roll during a creep round. And if you're as dizzy as you are when you're like, oh, I need to reforge 17 items. I need to, like, do all this stuff. Just do it during the fight, and, like, maybe you have a chance. As we do see Alafron absolutely bully Levin's squid there by just CCing it down, and there's nothing this squid can do when he's entangled in all of those vines.
With a similar sort of mana pools for Zyra and the Vel'Koz, every time Vel'Koz was about to fire, or was just started firing, they got hit by the Zyra CC instantly. So Levin's going to have some real concerns on their mind if they come up against that comp, that they just get absolutely stomped if it's a corner-to-corner battle.
Well, that's the trick, right? Typically, you want your Vel'Koz to be on the opposite corner to their carry, but when it's Zyra specifically, you really don't want that to happen. And I think we'll see Levin trying to get same side positioning with that Vel'Koz, at the very least, so that when they next face each other, they won't just die immediately.
Alright, so we've got 2 outs so far. Yoka we saw before. I like IP also getting knocked out with 15p, managing to make it all the way up into the top 6 as Lucas hits 3-star Nocturne. We gotta go take a look at that in the next fight.
3-star Nocturne, pretty big hit. They are down to 6 HP though, so don't know if they're going to be strong enough.
All right, Doctor, give me the prognosis. What's the chance of survival here?
Honestly, pretty low, I think. It really depends on how this turns out. Oh, they've actually hit the Sin Spat, so I think they're in an okay spot. They're fine. They win these.
If they beat 15p here, which looks like it is going to be the case, only Rel surviving, that will guarantee another further spot up the table because 15p is out of there. Darth OJ survives on 6, leaving on 9. So we've got Alafron actually managing to come back from a little bit of a rough start to now dominating the lobby with more HP than the rest of the lobby put together.
Yeah, this is just... I think it's pretty much a masterclass in how to play Draconics. That they were able to position the Zyra well enough, it's basically every round, that they were fine with it. They have the board that they want. They've got pretty strong use. They've got the Garen 2 as well in. They've ended up playing the Heimerdinger now. I'm not sure if Heimerdinger 1 is actually better than... what's it called?
Zyra
2. So just because of the CC is really, really strong. Although, you know, looking at these fights, it seems pretty good to me. Against another Riven 3. There are 2 Riven 3s in this lobby. That's a bit weird.
That is very weird.
I mean, the Riven tried her best, but yeah, not quite enough. Goes down to -3, which maybe is enough. Is enough to top 4 as Leven drops out in 5th.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's the TFT becomes real wild once you get to these points, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's literally by a single HP that determines if you're top 4 or top 5. Lucas and Jaren still survive, so you can see there the knockdown for Lucas. For Jaren, it is going to be the Jax trying to win out here. Is there anything you think that can stop Alifron at this point?
Nocturne can win if Alifron positions badly, but I don't expect them to, because I think they're actually pretty good at the video game. And yeah, the Jax just always loses to this, so I think it's basically over. There is quite a funny play you can do on that creep round. If you roll down and you find a Teemo, and you buy the Teemo, it puts you below the threshold for the blessing. And so you would get the blessing on this turn, which is always quite funny to do.
I like it.
Didn't happen though, and maybe they just end without ever getting the blessing. That is very much a thing that can happen.
I mean, to be fair, we know
Okay, they get the blessing next round. It's fine.
We do know that the blessing in this game, in this particular lobby, is not the best. So I guess they're not going to really be too put out by not having it. Let's see if they have got what it takes. So this is Lucas's Ghost go up against the...
yeah, it looks like they got what it takes. This Heimerot will kill them. They didn't even position for them. Like it's not like they're even trying to position for that. Lucas does end up winning, so now you can position fairly efficiently. And Reforgers, let's go.
Someone. Oh, I see. Someone's listening to our stream. I can tell.
Was positioning. I mean, was positioning. What do you mean was positioning? You need to not get your Heimerdinger one shot by an assassin. Luckily, they didn't position for you, but I would recommend not getting your Heimerdinger one shot. The typical positioning is usually to clump.
They missed out.
You can't reforge mid-round.
Also, you can't bring in a Volibear 2 mid-round either. So that's...
as you can see, they did get the Nocturne positioning correct there. And maybe this is enough.
It's gonna be tight.
It's pretty close, though, because the rest of the board is still very, very strong from Alifron. But yeah, you can see, with bad positioning from Alifron, it is very, very possible for them to lose to Assassins.
Oh my gosh, so that's a level 7 I Am Lucas getting the win there. We are pretty close to elimination territory. I would guess I would kind of eyeball this as being that we're still in one more life for Alifron territory, assuming that the last, if we see a repeat of the last round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this should be fairly trivial positioning. Like, positioning against assassins, all you need to do is make sure that your assassin, the units don't get hit by the assassins immediately. You can see that they're clumping up properly, which is really what you need to do. And yeah, I don't see this going particularly well for Lucas.
We'll see if there's any chance, but yeah, the Heimerdinger has remained untouched, as has the turret. So it's the sweeping across the field. Lucas, I think, will have to settle for second here, but a well-earned second with a Nocturne 3, as that brings our final round of play to an end. Congratulations. That was some truly spectacular play, and also nice choice of Little Legend there as well.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. Almost as good as River Sprite, but oh well. Not everyone can be perfect.
All right, so that brings our lobby 1 to an end, but I think our other lobbies may still be going. So let's...
And of course, there's always the infinite wheels of prizes.
Yes, infinite wheels of prizes. Oh my gosh. So we'll see. So we've got lobby 1 round 3. So that looks like that's going to be the first one to be done. So what we can do instead is we can start doing some of the draws, because we've got a lot of them to get through. I think it's wheelofnames.com. There we go. Not sponsored, but I definitely recommend for your name wheelie needs. Pills don't put you in the draw? Okay. So let's grab all of our players who are active in our last round. Seems reasonable. and throw him in here. Hopefully this will work. Not really sure why Pils doesn't want to be part of the draw, but it's up to him.
I mean, Bills is part of the rule. I don't get a choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of confused by that. I've never had someone... They just don't give me a chance to win something. Shaq Links, thank you for updating us on the lobbies that still need to be played. So this will be... can you actually name each one or something? No, it doesn't look it. Okay. So we've got a bunch of different prizes. In fact, let's just show the prizes here so we can follow along. So we've got our first place player, which was to be determined. We've got our random pick who's going to win a little legend egg. So this will be our completely random pick. So it's possible to win 2 little legends eggs if you get absurdly lucky.
I guess this will be both the random picks, right? Given there are 2 of them.
Yes, I suppose so. Yes, we've got a random RP prize and a random little legend egg. So for the first one, which will be for our random little legend egg of your choice, 500 RP or less. Let's see who gets it. Funeral Bard. Oh, interesting. Thank you for the follow. Funeral Bard. Let's check to see that they are a player who did play. Let's see. Lobby creation. Funeral Bard doesn't seem to ring a bell here. Let's see. Who's Funeral Bard?
Funeral Bard literally just followed you, so.
Oh, the 13p. 13p is.
These people with different names on different platforms, imagine.
Ah, gosh, how confusing. Oh, gosh, thank you guys for the follows. Alright, so that's Funeral Bard. Yes, so Funeral Bard is our random little legend egg winner. Please DM me your choice. Alright, I'm going to add this to our tournament records as well, so don't forget. Let's see. Oh, wait, no, it's in my other spreadsheet. You can never have too many spreadsheets. So what I've started doing is making records of each tournament, which will hopefully make things a little bit easier down the line. So today's date is the 11th of 9th, 2021, and this is tournament 21, I think. Yeah. Right, so let's make sure we've got the prizes set up, sorted out. So, random player little legend egg was the Funeral Bard. So, waiting on DM from them. Alright, so we will... Blob, what do you think? Should we remove Funeral Bard for consideration?
Yeah. If they get lucky, they deserve it.
Yeah, I think one random prize per person is probably enough, so we don't end up with loads of stuff. But hey, at least you got time. So the random RP prize will be going to... hey, it's Elefron. I think. Is it? What? It just...
Just is all you need, though, really.
Alright, Elefron, congratulations. Please add me on League of Legends. Alright, so making that note. Random player RP. Right, so one extra thing which we need to do, which I forgot to set up ahead of time, is feedback. So already it's been enormously helpful to get information from you guys as to what... oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. Feedback on the competition itself. So I'm seeing if I can find our feedback form, because that will be one of the giveaways for today. Will be based on from the people who have given feedback. And for the life of me, I cannot find it. So I guess that's a kind of a full later thing. Oh, there we go. So let's create a new version of this for tournament number 21. I'll post the link out here, and if you guys could fill it in with as much detail as possible, then that will help make future competitions One respondent will receive a RP prize. I can't spell respondent, and I can't spell receive either, apparently.
I thought you were going to say you can't spell RP, which would be very impressive.
It's a special skill. Alright, so that is in the chat. Alright, so let's see. So it gets us through, I think, half of our prizes? Geez. What have we got? So, random pick from the streamers. So, let's see. Who do we have streaming today? I think a lot of people didn't actually respond to things saying that they were streaming. But there were a lot of people who were streaming. Let's see. Yeah, only 4 people responded when there were definitely more than 4 people. So let me instead look at the user archive for today, copy the stream links. We'll just assume everyone was streaming who was supposed to be. So we'll use their streams as their identifiers. Alright. So if you'd like a chance to be part of this particular draw in the future, please do put out a Twitch stream of your play while you're playing. Doesn't need to necessarily be a high quality stream, just so we've got some POVs to look at people. And hey, it's Yuka winning that prize. Congratulations, Yuka, you are #1 streamer.
Woo, well done.
Okay, and Yuka. So the feedback RP will obviously have to wait a little bit. I meant to post it at the end of round 2 so we could have it ready for now, but we don't have that. Let's see where we are in terms of the overall results, because ideally...
That's what we really care about.
Yeah, we're very, very important stuff, of course. Let's see. So for tournament records, or rather tournament results, let's see. If we got... Oh, we have got placements for most of the setup right now. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's been updated on with everything. Oh no, I think the final results are coming in. So I'll just await confirmation from. Actually, let's pop down to Rain's admin room. We can ask her live on air if everything is ready to go. Hey, Rain. So you're on stream for just a second, just to check and see if the final results are in. I will take that as a no. Haha. All right. Well,
yeah, they're updated now. So.
All right. Cool. Great. Is that on the bracket site or on the spreadsheet?
On both.
Okay, great. So, let's post these out, and we can see what we've got. Actually, I'll try if I can get people on stream to twitch.tv/counterfeitcast. Alright, so we've got our final standings. So from the people who played, Not Gamer Goron will be in 21st with 7 points, just above Darth OJ with 8. Actually, might as well just bring this onto stream. Then we got Paddler in 19th with 10. Then a huge tie with 12 points between I Like IP, 13p, Adorks EU, iHexo, leaving Jaren. All joint 13th together. I guess, actually, wait, no. The placing is... Oh, that's right, sorry. Don't worry, I just confused myself by looking at place and thinking that was a real place. Anyway, above there we have Alefron dividing the pack up with 13, and Yurko with 14 as well. So they managed to make some good ground. Overall, Pills coming in with a respectable 10th place. And then Vintis 559 with 16, tied with Stybix for 8th. And above there we have 15p rather on 17. Xiao Wei Zhao on 18, tied with Brie Brands. Natural Chiha with 19, and then a three-way tie for first place between Sapphire, Corn 19, and I Am Lucas. So we're going to have to use our tiebreakers to be able to tell how to do that. So I'm going to have to consult the tournament information. So the tiebreakers are... where are you?
Oh no, tiebreakers.
Oh no, I think I put them in tournament rules rather than tournament info. Should probably get that sorted out. So number of first place finishes. So we've got one first place. Oh, actually, we've got one first place out of all of them. So Sapphire, with the only person from the top 3 to finish in first, will be our tournament winner after a 3-way tiebreak. Because apparently it's with a very competitive top of the table. What do you think of that, Blob? That out of the top 3, only one of them got a first place.
That's a weird one, isn't it? Usually you expect people who do well to win games, but I guess if they consistently got seconds, which I guess is what it is, then yeah, consistently getting seconds is basically the same as getting first, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's think the scoring here is definitely, again, this is intended to be not a very competitive tournament at all. That you don't get a lot more bigger of a reward for hitting it first, so actually playing for second is probably a pretty sensible strategy, and we can see. So, but in the top 3, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds between them. So,
which is almost all of them, given there were 3 lobbies.
So yeah, apparently maybe that's the way to go here. Don't play for first, play for second instead. But congratulations to Sapphire Mist. And I will also give you, Sapphire Mist, our current champion role. So congratulations for that. And I guess, yes, you also get a previous champion role, which will turn up whenever you are not our current champion anymore. So the only giveaway left to do is our feedback one. I'll give people a little bit of time to do that. Because, you know, it takes time to deliver good feedback. But Blob, as our guest for today, who would you like us to raid at the end of this stream?
I don't have any preference. I don't know anyone who's none of the like small streamers that I follow are online right now, so no one really that I can think of.
All right, let's see if we can find. Oh gosh, hey, there's a Vampire the Masquerade game. I didn't even realize that was the case. Right, where are you, Teamfight Tactics? Not doing too bad. 11k is okay. Let's see who's recently started. I mean, I kind of feel like anyone who refers to their viewers as nerdlings has got to be good. Amizi started 1 minute ago. Anyone else who is up? I don't know. Let's give Amizi a try and see if you guys want to become nerdlings as well. So it will be 2 weeks until the next competition. So that will be, if I could do some maths, yes, on the 25th of September. That we'll be back for another regular TFT competition. Thank you guys so much for joining us for today. We'll have one more RP giveaway, which will be notified in the chat as to who it goes to. But for now, thank you, Improbable, for joining us. Do go and check out ImprobableBlob, ImprobableBlobTFT on the Twitch. Are you streaming every day still?
Yes, still every day.
Fantastic.
I will be streaming later today. I do have a tournament on, which hopefully I'll do well in, but who knows.
Oh yes, we should have a blob command. Rain, we'll get that sorted out immediately. I'll write it on my hand. Blob. Okay, that pen doesn't work. Never mind. I'll remember. Blob command all day, every day. But for now, let's go check out Amizi and see what they're about. All right, we're out of here.
Weirdly, I'm
Amazing.
actually fairly sure I used to follow this person.
Oh, cool.